with the most triggering comedy of the year.
Will this be the most offensive movie ever? I'll just say, I sure hope so. Welcome back to the JP Reacts channel, my beautiful freedom-loving friend, where we like to call out the lies, hypocrisy, and corruption of tyrants, shine the light of awareness on woke absurdities, and highlight the amazing work of other freedom fighters. In recent interviews I've been doing, the number one question I've been asked is, JP, is comedy dead? And is there any way to save comedy? I'll be addressing my perspective on that really important question in just a second. But what brings up that question today is the Daily Wire, as you may have heard, they've had several $100 million worth of investment into their entertainment wing, their company producing movies like a non-woke Snow White movie. They've got children's entertainment, and now they're getting their hand into comedy. And they've got a new movie coming out, I believe December 1st, called Lady Ballers. We just saw a short clip of it, and we'll take a look at the trailer in a second. Is comedy dead? My answer is no. You might say, well, JP, that it doesn't seem that way because Hollywood doesn't make comedies anymore. I mean, they make movies that are labeled comedies, but they don't make comedies anymore because you look at some of the all-time great comedy movies. Airplane is one of my favorites. Caddyshack, a lot of the Will Ferrell movies, Old School, Talladega Nights, and one of my absolute all-time favorite movies, Superbad. What did all those movies have in common that made them great comedies? They risked offending people. They were willing to offend people. That's part of what made them great. They were saying things that were in our collective consciousness that needed to be said, but nobody was really saying them, but they said them, and that gave people a voice. They went into the taboo world, and people just absolutely loved it. A willingness to offend with purpose. That's part of what makes comedies great. You can say, well, JP, how could you say comedy isn't dead? Because Hollywood doesn't make those kinds of movies anymore. If anything, they're so scared to offend, it's almost offensive how they treat the world as these weak water sacks of flesh that are too weak to handle emotions that come up. If they're offended by something, that's probably true. If you're laughing, there's probably some truth to it. Comedy is dead if you go to the comedy graveyard, and that is Hollywood. It is very dead in Hollywood, but that's the graveyard. You look elsewhere and you see, okay, comedy is still alive. And in fact, I think there is more demand than ever for good comedy because it's become relatively rare, certainly extremely rare in mainstream media. I don't think there's ever been as great of a demand for good comedy. I mean, have you seen the movie Caddyshack? So comedy is rare. Therefore, there's never been a bigger demand for it. And I am very interested by this new Daily Wire movie, which we'll see in a second. It pokes fun in like a major way. It's not just like, hey, we're willing to offend. It's like, we're gonna offend. But we're gonna offend what needs to be offended, because there's this imaginary, hallucinatory montage of reality born out of probably mental illness trying to be propagated as though it's truth, and you're persecuted if you fight this imaginary reality and say what's actually true. You're persecuted for it. That kind of thing. It needs to be offended, because offending it and the people who are worshiping this false idol, that's part of what helps it crumble, crack, erode, if not explode.
In a world where women's sports is being
That was Riley Gaines. Best female swimmer in the world, but also not as good of a swimmer as Leah Thomas.
The Daily Wire calls foul with the most triggering comedy of the year.
Guys, this is serious. Sports can be your pathway to a better
So that is Jeremy Boring, CEO of Daily Wire, in case anybody's keeping track.
life.
Well, like yours?
Please don't steal my catalytic converter again. Winning matters. It's the key ingredient in becoming a winner.
Maybe you should try it sometime. Are you gonna move?
I am not.
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
You don't know how he identifies.
If you can beat them,
Could you imagine Hollywood even having one of these lines in one of their movies? They're like, no, we'd lose our ESG money. We get paid that money and we need that money because we make zero money at the box office. We lose money. So the only money we have coming in is if we create, instead of the 7 dwarves, like the 7 diverse magical creatures. So we're not going to have those lines in there. It might offend the 12 people who might be willing to watch this piece of garbage movie.
How about the U.S. Opens for the Global Games?
You want us to compete as women. $5,000 prizes.
My lover says you were a great coach back in the day.
join them.
This is the way the world is now. My 8-year-old daughter told me all about it. So a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. Nice!
You mean when you're sleeping?
Yes. Coach?
And keep in mind, like, though this is just a movie trailer, everything they're saying, like, they do have the willingness to offend, but I would dare say they have the deliberate intentionality to offend that which needs to be offended.
We could play basketball. We'd have to get the whole team back.
Which, by the way, also, my God, interrupting the regularly scheduled program with another thought of mine. How many people out there, just in America alone, has this mentality in line with their thinking? In other words, skewering the woke radical gender ideology. How many people are on board with that versus on board with being obedient to the 1984 fictional reality that we're being sold? I'm not asking like how many people are willing to voice it, but how many people are more on the side of reality, and therefore this comedy skewering the ridiculousness of it would be in line with their thinking? My guess is 80-20. My guess is 80% of people are still in line with truth, or they've woken up out of the propaganda that's been fed to us hardcore for the past 4 years. So I would dare say, if you're looking to make money from a movie, making a movie like this that's willing to offend and deliberately offends that which needs to be offended, I would dare say it's a good business move. You can ask, why does Disney lose money on all their woke movies? Is because they're catering to the minority of people. The minority of people, they're in line with the dominant narrative, but the dominant narrative is put out by the corporate media. It does not represent the actual minds of people. Back to the regularly scheduled program.
Together.
It's time
We're in.
I'm in.
I'm in.
to play
Lady Balders.
Man up.
By the way, this is my good friend Tyler Fisher. He's a comedian. We've done videos together, and I want you to know I know him, and he's a lady with a beard.
like a girl.
I'm with her. Believe in my truth. This is my truth.
From heroes
Day one of being a girl athlete. I love being a girl.
to sheroes.
We could dominate every woman's sport. Running, swimming, soccer. I said sport, Felix!
It's ladies basketball, boys. Nobody watches.
Yeah, that's very true.
Excuse me. Are these seats open?
Never mind.
Ted Cruz coming in hot.
Getting dunks. And tucking trunks.
No, she didn't. That's the biggest I've ever seen on a lady.
I don't care.
Lady ballers.
So will this be the most offensive movie ever made? And like I said at the beginning, I sincerely hope so, because it needs to be made. We need to offend more, that which needs to be offended. Not for the sake of being mean, but for the sake of poking holes in insanity with a sword of comedy so that the light of truth can shine through. We need that. Then here's my question to you. You mentioned how the Daily Wire is putting in a lot of money into making productions to create non-woke alternatives for entertainment, children's entertainment, adult entertainment, and now comedy. So here's my question. Will you watch this? Have you watched other movies by the Daily Wire? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sincerely interested, because I hope that they're successful with what they're doing, but I don't know. Obviously, they've got a little bit of an uphill battle battle because they're doing things on their own. They're not riding the wake of any sort of mainstream Hollywood. They're all independent on this. So let me know in the comments below if you're going to watch this movie and if you've watched other Daily Wire movies. With that said, thank you for watching this video, my freedom-loving friend. Look forward to seeing you next time. But before that, here's a special message. Let me ask you a question. How much worse would your life be if you fell asleep quicker, slept deeper, and woke up feeling more refreshed? You might be saying, well, JP, better sleep and more energy the next day? That actually seems like a good thing. I would agree. I firmly believe maximizing sleep is one of the best things we can do for our health and to feel great. Yet if you're at all like me, you don't have time to sleep more. So what can you do to maximize the quality of your sleep? Well, for that, I would love to invite you to try Awaken CBD Sleep Gummies. This tasty treat right before bed is a unique blend of CBD, CBN, and chamomile formulated to help both your mind and body relax so you can get the best sleep possible and wake up feeling refreshed. And in case you don't know, Awaken CBD is a company that I founded and I own because I'm a firm believer that CBD has potent effects on our health, including sleep. So I wanted to make the most potent, purest, best quality CBD available to everyone, and all proceeds go to supporting this channel and the mission of freedom. So if you'd like to treat yourself to better sleep and more energy, you can get your Awaken CBD sleep gummies at awakencbd.com. Enjoy, my friend.